Good morning. Happy Monday and welcome back. My name is Jacki Horton. I am a virtual wellness and health coach. And today I'm back with you all. This is going into my second week. And I want to say happy Juneteenth Day for many of you. And because this is such a special day, I do want to tie this into my topic for today. As I mentioned last week, Mondays are my day to just really do like a generalization of behavior health and how some of the ways that people express themselves may cause them to have some kind of struggles, in life and so forth. So with June 10th, which became a federal national holiday, signed into a federal national holiday for the emancipation of African Americans, Blacks in the United States. Brings forth a very, very emotional day for many people. And because there have been different ways that we express ourselves. So when you think about this day, it automatically takes you to the place why this day is so important and why this could be an emotional holiday for many people. And the reason is because the first African people who were enslaved were brought to the United States in 1619 and was transported to Jamestown, Virginia. And so with that being that first group, they were separated from their homeland, their family of origin, their heritage, their foundation, their culture, and so forth. And so when you think about people not speaking the language that was here and not understanding the customs are here, you can only imagine the emotional turmoil that they experienced. Prior to getting here, they rode on a very long transatlantic ship to get here and so forth. So when you think about all those things, there's a lot of trauma involved. There's a lot of fear involved. There's a lot of just kind of like shock involved. And so the emotional, wherewithal begins to be impacted in a way that is just constantly, trying to catch up with what's happening at the same time. So that brings us today. When you think about, those who I have seen in practice where there has been a separation from, stability, security from the initial caregiver infant relationship and so on. Those are the same responses of trying to figure out how to manage the trauma within and how to manage the world externally with all that's going on. And when I think about with all that's going on, I'm thinking about things that you had no control over happening to you, which actually increases the emotional experiences that a person has. And so over time, those experiences, that history, that past event plays a part in how one develops in and continue to grow into, from an adolescent to adulthood. And as we grow, I always say you grow physically, over the years, but you also have to grow emotionally. And if there's been some interruption in that emotional connection, which we call emotional attachment, then the ability to have those really secure, very involved and very well connected emotional relationships can be very hard to have. And in the way we learn that a person shows up with those struggles is by how he or she interacts and behaves in those close relationships, in those close proximity relationships. And so obviously the family of origin, your natural family is the first place, that you start to see and experience these interactions where you start to develop your own ability to try to manage what's going on around you. And I'm talking about manage what you can't control externally becomes what you try to control internally. That's one thing. Then these types of ways of coping because of the anxiety that's brought about in these emotional relationships as a result of something that impacted them, we sort of operate in our wider world like that. It may be being a person who's very dismissive, about things, very flat, very unconnected and disconnected in a way that, no matter what it is, the response is pretty much a disconnect and just kind of like, okay, this is what it is. And we like to refer to that as a more of a dismissive, like you're dismissing not only what's happening in the event, but you're also dismissive about how you feel about them as a way to cope and to deal with it. The other thing is avoiding. There are times where, people very much may avoid connection. For example, in family sessions, you may see one or two people in that family unit that really avoids any interaction with the person that triggers that emotional response for them. And so avoiding could be as simple as, really, not having a very important or very serious and important conversation with that person. Or it could just, be that when the person brings up something that's serious and important, the person just, avoid it altogether by not continuing it. The other one is the anxiousness, being anxious around or having some anxiety around those people or those situations. And obviously, anxiety is not a good feeling to have. We all try to avoid that as well. And so, trying to manage what you can't manage brings up the anxiety because it's always this space of uncertainty that takes place. And then there's the other one. There's the other piece where you may have a secure attachment, and the secure attachment can be because maybe there was a situation or a person that really played a part in making sure that there was a continuity of attachment and and care and reliability for you that help you gain a sense of yourself, your own emotional self, in order to have those emotional attachments that you desire. And so we do know that emotional attachment is really a human need. It is not something that you can cut off and cut on. And I think the idea of, people knowing this intrinsically, I think in some ways they've found ways to try to fulfill that need. However, we do have a large people in our society that has not been able to fulfill that need, even with ongoing reliable resources and so forth. And so that usually comes from, as I said, the cut off, the separation from home, family of origin, the cut off from a natural resource of emotional support. And and so we look at these things and we try to help people understand how this takes place, how it affects them, and how it works for them in the long run. Um, so I'm trying to make sure. And the last one that I wanted to mention was the one regarding the fearfulness. We do often see that more prevalently in children and adolescents, the fearfulness of being in school, being sort of like watched, being sort of like the center of attention. And a lot of times, the fearfulness is expressed in the withdrawal from schools or withdrawal from social settings. So, just to wrap this up, I do know that emotional attachment struggles can be healed with the appropriate resources, and give yourself the appropriate time and grace to heal because there was something that was impacted, that was broken, that was taken apart, that was, never really developed. So give yourself time to create that emotional attachment. The other thing is with this holiday, um, having certain people who may feel certain ways is certainly understandable. So give yourself that respect and that honor to just sort of like learn to kind of, understand how it affected you, but also celebrate that this is a day that we should also be celebrating as well. Because those people who were brought here in 1619, also made it possible for us to really change the trajectory in the United States and also make this place a welcoming place for all. And we too, should celebrate that in our contributions today in making this place, a place of that could show love for all people and so forth. So I want to thank you for your time today. This is my channel. I love for you to subscribe and hit the like button, and also leave comments so I can have some feedback on any thoughts that you might have. I want to thank you so much again today. You have a great one. Bye bye.